Samuels has finally confirmed what we all have been suspecting for years now, you guys.
Yes.
And she is leaving her husband, Chris Samuels, after, I think, almost 17 years, of being together, or 17 years of marriage.
I didn't know that they've been together that long. Wow.
Yeah.
Was not to get divorced. That wasn't where we were last year. Like, even when people said last year that we were going our separate ways and all of that, Chris and I were trying every which way to figure out, like, how do we get that connection back? How do we bring it back together? And so even at that time, it wasn't true. Like, we weren't seeking a divorce. We were separated in the sense of, like, okay, you focus on you, I focus on me, and let's see what happens. So we have been going through this process, and it's been years, you know, like marriage, as many people know, it has its ups and downs, but you get to a point where you feel like you've reached that moment of, like, you know what, are we growing? You know, are we stagnant? Are we moving? Like, what's going on? And then you also have to consider the fact that we have 3 children, you know, who are watching us. Our actions and how we interact with each other, how we run our household, that is literally an example for our children of how they're going to live their life. You know, and I don't want our children to ever be in a relationship where they feel like they're not being heard, whether that's on my side or Chris's side, you know, talking at each other, like the marriage becomes like a battlefield. So you get to a point where you also have to consider the fact that we have 3 little people that are literally looking at us, and they're taking notes, and they're like, okay, this is what's normal, and it's not normal. So, yeah, so that's where we are. You guys don't have to be sorry. It's just a part of life. Unfortunately, sometimes it happens. Some people stay married forever. Some people don't. My parents were married for 23 years and got divorced. I know couples that have been married for 60 years and they're miserable, and they literally let their whole life just fade away, you know? So, it's really what you make it. And if you get to a point where you're like, you know what, we have grown so far apart that it may be best that we focus on ourselves individually, and then focus on the 3 important people in our lives, which is our children. And that's what we decided to do. So let me see. How do you keep out the noise and find your balance and peace during this time? So one of the major things for me has been really finding myself. I've been on this self-love journey. I never realized how much I didn't love myself. That was like a huge revelation, because I always felt, because I'm a very secure person, I thought that was self-love. I wasn't aware of myself, you know. I was completely unaware of myself. Even watching last year when we were on Love and Marriage DC, I mean, I was going through it. Like, I was yelling, I was upset. That was me crying out. That was me, like, really fighting.
It's Mary and Alma. We invite you guys to like, subscribe, and comment down below, you all, because today we're getting into all of the details, you guys. She actually came out and went on Instagram Live. She confirmed that she actually filed for divorce back in, I think she said April. We are going to put a little clip so you guys can see it, but if you want to see the full thing in its entirety, there's a YouTuber who actually has the whole video, so we will we'll list it down below.
Yeah.
But I just think, to me, it just seems like she hasn't really liked him.
For a while.
Yeah, and it just didn't seem like she wanted to be in the marriage. Yeah. But I think I was seeing that in Real Housewives of Potomac, and she confirmed that their marriage was basically on the verge of it being over when they actually got on the show.
The Real Housewives of Potomac.
Yeah, she said she actually did not even want to be in the marriage at the time. But then the show came on, so
they decided to be this united front or whatever.
Which I just think is kind of sad, because instead of focusing on marriage, you were kind of like...
That's what they could have done at that time.
But she said the show actually did help the marriage, because they were going out again, they were kissing and hanging out or whatever. But it only...
But it's still fake, because you're doing that to create content.
Right.
Where really you could have just worked on the marriage.
You could have just let that have been the show. Right? But I don't know what it is, but you have made a really good point about what it really could be. The underlying issue.
When I look at like Larsa Pippen and Monique Samuels and any of these women who are married to athletes.
Yeah.
It's like you're with them, you know, you get together with them, they have all these women around them, they probably are cheating. And, you know, put you on the back burner. And then all of a sudden, I guess you've had the children that you need
to secure your future.
To secure yourself financially.
Yeah.
And then here comes the man, he come home. he is kind of now not a deadbeat. He's what do you call it? Has been,
yeah.
I'm just being mean. But I mean, this is just how the world that they live in.
Right.
He's now considered a has-been, right? He's trying to figure out what to do with his life. He's been up there for so long.
Yeah.
Right? Had this adoration for so long. Now you come home. The wife has been used to you being gone.
Yeah.
She's gotten used to you not paying attention to her. She's gotten used to you, like shutting her up when she's expressing her needs. Now you're here and you want her somehow to be sympathetic to you.
And be all up under you.
And to be all up under you and to be kind to you. You're not getting the money that you used to make. You have not done what you needed to do while you were playing.
To have a good relationship.
To have a good relationship, like how Jackie's husband did.
Yeah.
At least when she made herself available, to make sure that they slept together in the same bed each day. He wasn't like blowing her off. So,
and he actually wanted Jackie.
And he was crazy about her. So, now all of a sudden, so that resentment has built up. Because what I'm finding with these women is that there's a resentment.
And a hatred, probably.
To these men. There's like a venom under there.
Yeah.
And they don't have time to be compassionate with you anymore. Because you weren't with them. Probably when they were having children, you weren't there. When they were at their most vulnerable, you weren't there. So now that you're home with your has-been self, I don't want you no more. And because the way she was talking to him sometimes, even when they were exercising, something as simple as that, she was making him feel like
she had no patience.
No, and you can tell that he wasn't in the same shape that he was as an athlete. So you'll think you'll be kinder, right? When you're talking about him being out of shape.
Well, you think you would have been kinder to me when I was having your kids.
But guess what? She wasn't. So that makes me think women don't just get up and are just mean for no reason.
And they don't get up to just hate a man. But you can see there's the resentment, there's a distaste for that man there, and there's some underlying issues.
And sometimes with these women, they get with the man and they get with them for money. Like I think in the case of Larsa Pippen, I don't think she was feeling Scotty,
not at all.
Right?
Not the way she's been acting.
So so now when it's just you, and you don't have that whole thing of, oh, I'm gonna sit here and be a basketball wife, and he's one of the top players. Well, that's not there anymore. I'm gonna sit here being an NFL game. Well, that stuff ain't there no more. The little perks that you had. And it's just this man now you got to look at who was not very nice to you when he was on top. I'm not going to be nice to you now anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't
So they dragged it on out because Real Housewives of Potomac was paying some coins, which they probably needed because he wasn't working no more. Yeah. And she was like, I got to be on my coins. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they did that, and then she was able to secure the Love and Marriage DC. Okay. And that's when you were really seeing her being it was a wrap. She did not like him. She could not be bothered.
Because my thing is, you look at Chris and he seems like a nice guy, right? It seems like he loves his wife. He wants to be there for the long haul. But I actually don't know how he was before.
Don't know.
But you see him act like this, and then you see her act like this, and you wonder, why though?
What happened? Exactly.
But sometimes you can't really trust what men say because they'll say, oh, we're great. We have a wonderful relationship. Not knowing the woman hates your guts. If you ask Martell, he will tell you that him and Melody have a wonderful relationship. She can't even be in the same room as him. But you see, that's the lie it is.
Remind me of that guy who was interviewing Danae Jackson. Talk about
me and my wife are cool, and me and Derek are one and the same. The only difference is I wasn't preaching to men. As he tried to sop up to Danae Jackson to see if she'll be with the foolishness. Would you have liked it if he just told you from the beginning that he was cheating? I'll be everything. You can't be everything to me when your weenie's everywhere else. It don't work like that.
Thank you.
It don't even work with polygamy. Men are not capable, at all. Nobody's capable because I feel like innately we are all born to be monogamous.
I think so, actually.
I just think it's facts. It's when you start watching the TV and all this stuff that they indoctrinate men to be like these whores out here in the streets, and how they can't have only one woman. They have no self-control. Men can't control their eyes.
Men
you have to
all people. You have no self-control. It's laughable. How are you a man with no self-control?
But also, how are you the stronger sex if you can't control these? Like, it's a walking contradiction.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when you sit down here watching the foolishness.
Yeah.
But that's what I think happened with Monique and Chris Samuels. There's a lot of history there that we don't know.
Exactly.
That she probably has not come out to say.
No.
But that girl, she looks very stressed. Did you see her neck and her face? It's
Monique,
like, I don't want to say corpse, but everything was so sunken in. It was like,
no. I don't know if she was even using a filter. Like, I was surprised that was Monique. She did not.
I'm shocked she didn't use a filter.
Well, it looked like because her face looked all weird. I don't know if she had some work done. I don't know.
It's the
maybe
stress.
She's lost a lot of weight. The stress, I know. But yeah, and she seemed as though she was trying to convince us about how, well, it didn't just happen.
She's obviously not.
She was trying to make excuses for herself because I'm sure people are like, well, Monique,
you haven't been liking him for a long time.
But the thing is, we don't know the history, and I'm sorry, women don't just get up and hate men.
They really don't.
Their spouses, they don't. They really don't. And so there's something that man has been doing in the past. Yes, he has changed now. Of course, he would love to hold on to her now that he's a has-been. But, it's too late.
Yeah,
obviously.
She been gone. Mentally, she been gone. But she been here running around doing this whole reality TV thing, trying to convince herself.
Now,
like for me,
she says since Real Housewives of Potomac, that's when he stopped playing. So I guess a lot of these women, once that time is over, it's over.
I remember when he they were there kissing or whatever, and he's like, hurt people, get some help. And then he was like, I love my wife. Thank you for being there. They had this whole emotional display on the reunion. That was after she went and dragged that girl across the table and all stuff. And then Giselle was like, you said you will beat us bees up. You said that. You are crazy. And then she was cussing him out, honey.
That was such a weird thing for him to say too, as a big ass man as he was.
You can sit on me and I'll be dead. Why would you go and say that on weird. Instagram
if I
Live?
Was a woman, I will hurt them. Like that was
very violent.
Violent thing. That's why I'm saying.
And you like 7 foot, 800 pounds.
Been like an angel all this time. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Okay.
And then Monique was sitting there, and he does that for a living.
Like a dodo bird.
Anyway, the dodo bird has fled the nest.
She said, I have enough for what I need.
Time to fly away. I'm not going to sing that song because it's about that.
No.
Yeah, we're not going to sing that song.
No, not by that.
But yeah, y'all.
Okay. I mean, let's just do what it is. Anyway.
We invite y'all to
subscribe.
Share. And comment down below.